If you've been researching spell work and you've been looking at different types of magic and different types of spell work, you've probably come across spells that you just do a one-off. And then there's other spells that may require you to do the spell and repeat the spell over a number of days or specific days of the week. So if you're creating your own spells, how do you navigate your way around the timing thing? So how often to do the spell, when to do the spell, and whether you need to do the spell more than once. That's what this video is going to be about today. And if you're new to the channel, hi, I'm Sandra from mysterywitchschool.com, and if you want to become a witch or a Wiccan, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss any videos. So the timings often have a lot to do with the type of magic that you're working. So if you're working with planetary magic, for example, planets correspond to different days of the week, and if you're really wanting to get really heavy into the complexity that magic can go down that rabbit hole, then you may also be looking at the times of the day to do your spell. A lot of people don't get that nitpicky about magic, other people do. It really depends on what style of magic you're using. So you'll get spells that will often tell you to do this spell on a Thursday. So you may be working with Jupiter, for example, the planet of expansion and fortune. So you might do that spell on a Thursday, and then it might say repeat it on a Sunday. If you're familiar at all with Raymond Buckland's candle magic books, he does that. He says, to do the spell, repeat it such and such day. So that's because he's working with planetary magic and working with days of the week. Other spells which are more folk magic, sympathetic magic, that's more traditional, so you're working with herbs and potions. Often they'll be one-off spells. So you will be doing those spells at a particular period of the moon or a particular moon cycle, and it might be a one-off spell. It really depends on the style of magic that you're using. If you're working with angel magic, you'll often be working in like 11-day periods or 33-day periods. Sometimes you'll be working 7 days. You can do spells for a certain period of time depending on what type of magic you're using and what you're wanting to achieve. Generally speaking, if you're doing a spell for something that could be a little difficult, so it could be tricky to actually bring this into your life because you don't have anything around you in the physical world anyway, indicating that it's possible for this spell to work. You may want to do that spell over a certain number of days. If you're working with an angel, for example, it's always good to build that relationship with the spirit. So working multiple days on a spell with either a deity or an angel, then you can build that relationship while you're doing it over that number of days. Using multiple days to do a spell is good, I find personally, if I am working with other beings. So if it's angel work or if I'm working with a deity, I find I can build up a rapport more if I'm working, say, maybe over a 3-day period or a 7-day period, particularly if I use mantra and I'm building up that relationship. Other times, it could be just a simple one-off spell that I'll do at a new moon or I do at a full moon, and I may still work with a deity for that one-off spell. But generally, if I'm working with a deity, it's one that I've worked with a lot before. So I've already got that relationship happening. I've already got that connection going. It's really something that you've got to work out for yourself through trial and error to know whether something's going to work for you if it's a one-off or whether it's something you feel you're going to need for a number of days. Whatever decision you go for, like whether you just do it as a once-off spell or whether you do it over a 3-day period, for example, when you finish the spell, it's the same thing. You forget about it, you let it go, and just assume it's already happened. All the multiple days of working is about just accumulating that energy. I can't really say that there's a right or wrong way to go about this timing other than to practice magic and figure out what works for you in regards to magic. Some things are harder to bring into your sphere of availability than other things. So you may need to work more on something. it really just depends on your situation. So this variety of timings that you'll come across really is connected often to the tradition of magic and to the style of magic that you're working with. And just as you can do candle magic spell, working with the planets the way that Raymond Buckland's book works with them, you can also do a one-off spell using the same process. So if you're wanting to do a spell for expansion, you could do it on a Thursday during a waxing moon, for example, and just do it on that day and see what happens. Or if you're wanting to experiment with timings and you're wanting to work within that sort of planetary sort of paradigm, then you can repeat that spell maybe on a Sunday, which is the sun, and it's offering those extra energies. So if you're working with days of the weeks and the planets, you're utilizing the energies of the various different planets from that day of the week for your spells. So you may be using the energies of Jupiter for expansion, and then the energy of the sun, because maybe you're wanting to add some courage or you're wanting to add some confidence to what it is that you're doing. So you're utilizing the different energies of the planets on those specific days because they're the days that correspond to those planets. So you can work with magic that way as well. So you do the spell maybe working with a particular thing. If you're wanting to add something else, then you can do the spell again, working with that aspect. Hope that makes sense. So spell work is something that can be really simple, and it can be something that is really complex. The most important thing about it is that you know exactly what you're wanting, and you do the best that you can with regards to what you have and how you want to work in a way that works for you to bring that thing to you, and that you take action on any inspiration or any opportunities that come your way after the spell is done. Because the magic wants to move through the material realm, and the only way it can do that is through you taking action and allowing it to move through you, and things to come to you and move through other people and come to you. If you want to know more about how you can be more strategic with your spell crafting, I have a free PDF called the Spellcaster Checklist. I'll put the link to that in the description field below this video. If you like the video, hit the like button, share it with your friends, don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any questions about timings, just let me know in the comments field. As I said, it really depends on the type of magic you're working with, the tradition of the magic you're working with, as to how these timings make any sense. Blessed be everyone. I'll see you on the next video.